Hello and welcome to the Flame and Fiber podcast. My name is Barbara. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as DeevaaS. I'm outside on a beautiful day today in the last vestiges of the sunshine, and the sun is in my eyes. I hope you don't mind the squinting. I'm sure it will be gone soon because then I'll be in the shade. It's a little chilly outside, so I'm wearing my hat, which is kind of not exactly true. Well, it's true, and I'm going to need the hat when I'm in the shade, but my hair looks terrible, and so I thought I would just wear my cute hat with my cute round rabbit button. This is a woolly Wormhead hat pattern. I forget what it is. As I recall, it was kind of a pain in the neck to knit, but I really love the pattern. I love the whole, you knit the rim like a tube and then you pick up the stitches and do the stitching. And I think the problem was the pattern right after you picked up the stitches was actually quite difficult to do, but once it got longer it worked. And I forget the name of it, but I'll put it down here because I'm pretty sure I have it listed in Ravelry, or I can find it. So actually I'll put it up here because I've been putting things at the top so they don't interfere with the closed captioning. So cheers, I'm having some of Dennis's Pinot Grigio. It's late in the afternoon, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous day. We've been having really cool weather here up until now, the last few days, but today is kind of beautiful. Grass is growing. Dennis is gonna have to start mowing soon. And, but it's nice, it's not too windy. So I thought I'd come out here. I hope you don't mind. Like I said, before the end of this podcast, I will be in the shade. I am wearing my only finished object. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm so excited about it. This is the Sweet Little Nothing. My brain. It's the Sweet Little Nothing by Susan, and I'm putting her name up here because I don't want to butcher it, who is Pink Shawl Girl on Ravelry and Instagram. And I absolutely love this pattern. This was the pattern was a birthday gift from her because my birthday was in March. And the cool thing about this, it's a one skein project. And, my preferences for shawls are either a kind of one skein little shawlette kind of thing that is an accessory just to cover your neck a little bit and be gorgeous, or like a big warm, keep me warm in the winter kind of shawl. So this is perfect for me. And if you can see, it's got picot edging all the way around it. It was such a fun knit. It was the first time I've ever seen that, and I absolutely love it. This is Little Bean Loves yarn, and I forget the name of the colorway. I've had it forever, so I'm sure you can't get it, but it's got a little bit of a sparkle. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but I absolutely I enjoyed every minute of knitting this, and I am so glad that I'm finally doing my podcast so I can start wearing it. I blocked it, but I didn't, excuse me, my nose is itchy. I didn't pin out each of the picots. They were fine without like using a gajillion pins. I just laid it out, and yeah. Isn't it nice? I'm so excited about it. It's just perfect. You could wear it anyway. This gives me a little bit of warmth, which I'm glad to have out here. And just a little accent for an outfit. The pattern picture used an ombre yarn, which I also really, really loved. I thought that was the perfect thing for it. But I found this, as soon as I saw it, it jumped out at me. Like I said, it's got a little sparkle. You might not be able to tell, but I really enjoyed this a lot. So thank you so much, Susan, for the pattern and for the lovely experience of knitting your pattern. It was so much fun. But It's the only thing I've finished since I talked to you last. It's been over a month. It's probably been maybe not quite 6 weeks. But my mojo is there, but at a relatively lower level. I've been having trouble with my glasses. I finally went to the eye doctor last week and got a new prescription, and I'm hoping my new glasses come soon. But my prescription has changed, and so I've ended up at the end of the day with headaches. And so that's when I'm doing most of my stitching. I've been spending too much time on Twitter and things like that. So most of my stitching has been in the evening, and by that point I have a little bit of a headache. So I have not done nearly as much. In fact, these are new glasses. These are readers that I got at the drugstore. But these new glasses are much higher than the other glasses I have, because I was starting to do some stitching and I couldn't really see. I was working on my Dragons of Sumatra, and I'm pretty sure this, pretty sure I did this stitching since last we met for the podcast, so I'm going to show it to you. But I couldn't see what I was doing, and so I needed stronger glasses, so I got them, and I've been wearing them now, waiting for my new glasses. But this is the Dragons of Sumatra. This is a ink circles pattern, and I mistakenly bought it in hard copy, which turned out to be fine, and so I got this nice cardboardy picture of what it's going to turn out to be, the Dragons of Sumatra. The thing that I like about this project for me is sometimes I don't want to think about changing colors and things. So this is all one color. The whole thing is all this beautiful red. I'm doing it on an even weave. But look at how I'm doing. I have a dragon. I have a dragon. That's obviously a dragon. My other ones are, there's some little dragons, but this is obviously a dragon. So I have moved away from page 2. Let's see. I started with 5, and then I went up to 2, and now I'm going over to page 1. So I'm on page 1 now. It's got 9 pages. And see that little progress needle minder? That's a picture I painted. Christy, my daughter Christy, made me this needle minder of my sheep picture that I did. So anyway, I have been working on my dragon. So I finished page 2, which I was in the middle of before, and started page 1 and made a dragon. And I really, really enjoyed it. But I couldn't work on this until I got these new glasses. So our eye doctor retired during COVID. And so we didn't have an eye doctor to go to, so I finally just, my mother-in-law had some eye surgery, and so I just booked appointments for me and Dennis with one of the optometrists at that practice, and she was lovely. Her name was Samantha. As I was leaving, I asked her, does your grandmother call you Sammy? Because, of course, I have a Sammy. One of my granddaughters is Samantha. So anyway, I've been stitching. So that was one of my whips. I have another stitching whip. I am doing the drink shelf, temperature drink shelf that my daughter Christy, and I'm going to have a link. I have a link below for her floss tube and her Etsy shop, because she designed this. She was inspired by me and Chevis of the Chevirel Stuff podcast. Chevis always has a nice cocktail or beer or something that she's drinking at her podcast, and so Christy watches her podcast and was inspired to do a drink shelf temperature cross stitch pattern, and I think you can see it pretty well. I have a little glare now, and so I'm not sure, but I think you can see it. I am all caught up. Christy and I stitch together on Sunday evenings. Oh, this is her Hildegard of Bingen picture that she works on. She has a stitching project of that. She's done one that was amazing. I got to see it in person last year in May. It was amazing. And then she's making another one for herself. But she designed this, and we stitch together on Sunday evenings. We have a Zoom stitch together on Sunday evenings, and so I've been keeping up with my drinks shelves, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So the thing with the temperature stitch pattern, if you're not familiar, is that each of the cocktails, the drinks in the glasses, the color is determined by the high temperature of that day. And so I have a palette of colors that are associated with temperatures, and so when I look at the high of the day, I pick the color that's associated with that temperature. So that's how temperature patterns work. She also has a library version of a temperature pattern, bookshelves. That's very fun, but I made the mistake of doing the embroidery version last year, and I'm really not an embroiderer, and we ended up missing quite a few Sundays, and anyway, I stopped doing it in June. But I am planning to finish this. I'm really enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying doing the glasses. For those times when I want to just stitch in one color, I just do the glasses for the next month. I had all the glasses for April done before the end of March because I decided I felt like stitching, but I didn't want to think about anything, so I just stitched the glasses, and I'm very excited. My plan is I am outlining them in a little bit of a darker gray, the glasses, so that they show against the white background better. And last month in March, when we did our Zoom craft together, our group has a Zoom craft together once a month, I did the outlining for the glasses that I had at that time. And my plan is this Saturday, April 23rd, we are having our Zoom craft together again. It's at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on a Saturday. There's a thread in the Flame and Fiber podcast group on Ravelry that has the link and the information. The password is yarn with a capital Y. And if you don't have access to Ravelry and you're interested in joining us, we would love to have you. Email me at flameandfiber@mindspring.com, and I will send you the link and the password and everything so that you can join us. We would love to have you. But I think what I'm going to be doing while we're talking and chatting is doing the outlines for the glasses that I have. I did it last month and it worked out great. And the glasses it's a very subtle, I don't know why I put it away. I'm still talking about it. It's a very subtle thing, but, oh, I'm in the shade. See, the shade is coming. It's a very subtle thing, but having that little bit of an outline around that glass makes a difference. Now, so the glasses on this shelf, nope, just these two glasses. The two glasses on this shelf are outlined, and and the glasses down here are not. And you can see, I think you can see the difference. It's subtle, but it really, I think it's important because the glasses are a light gray, because glasses are clear, and the light gray is certainly appropriate. But because I'm doing mine on white, it doesn't have a big contrast. Chrissy's doing hers on navy blue, and it really contrasts nicely, and it's very nice. So anyway, I'm having a lot of fun stitching that. We do that on Sunday nights. And I've pretty much caught up. I haven't done any of the tchotchkes yet. And so that is, I think I should just move into the shade. I haven't done the tchotchkes yet, but I've done everything else. Let me reposition so that I'm in the shade. I just moved over a little. That's going to go away in a minute, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's the stitching I've been doing. Those are my two stitching whips. Now, I have 3 stitching, oops, 3 knitting whips, one of which fell on the ground. Okay, so the first knitting whip that I have going on is the Magic Socks by Carol Roy, who is a member of our group. I'm doing in theory, I'm doing a test knit. I'll put a picture of Carol's finished socks right here. And so I'm doing a test knit. She's very generous. She's really just sent me, she just doesn't, she's not expecting much from me, I'm quite sure. But, because she's not foolish. But I have been working on them. This is one of my favorite yarns that I had balled up quite a while ago and had to redo. And I'm pretty sure it's Oink Pigment yarn and the Blackberry Bramble, something like that colorway. Well, you can see the pattern. It is not the ideal yarn to show off a new pattern of a fancy new pattern sock, but you can kind of see the pattern. And I'm really having a lot of fun doing them. Now, she has sent me a new version that has the German short row heel. I think I'm going to try that. Oh, Maisie's here. I think I'm going to try that in case I can do that 2 at a time. I'm not sure. So we shall see. But anyway, isn't that lovely? So this is a test knit. It will be out soon. Now, this is one of the 5 Winds Farm test knits. I had done last month, my finished, my FO was the Jack socks, the 5 Winds Jack socks. Well, these are the 5 Winds Magic socks, and I'm pretty sure she sent me a picture of Magic, and if she did, I will put it here as well. Magic is one of the horses. The 5 Winds Farm is a horse rescue farm that her daughter runs. And so Carol is designing a whole set of sock patterns that she is being inspired by the horses at the horse rescue. So Jack was one of the horses, and that was the last socks I tried. And this is Magic, and Magic is also a lovely horse. And I'm really enjoying knitting these socks, I have to say. So I expect them to be a finished object next time, but we shall see. What are you doing? Oh, Maisie has, oh, but you can see both girls. There's Pearl and there's Maisie. Maisie has a little stick. But we're out on the deck. Oh, and you can hear my bird. There you go. Okay, so that is whip number 1. Now, the wonderful Valerie had sent me this beautiful pattern, and this is by Justina Lorkowska, and it's called the Elm Leaves Shawl. And as she said at the time, this is just what you like, 1 skein, and it is reversible. One thing I do not like about shawls is when they have a wrong side. I mean, and I don't mind a mildly wrong side, you know, reverse stockinette, and that's, you know, to me that's not bad. But when you, like, I love mosaic knitting, but a mosaic knit shawl doesn't work for me because that has a very different sides and one of them doesn't work. So anyway, this is a reversible shawl and 1 skein, so it falls into the same category as this Sweet Little Nothing. And she was exactly right. She sent this as a gift, and I love it. And I went to start it, and if you watched my vlog yesterday, you watched me in real time go through the process of realizing the yarn that I picked for it was not correct. That is a fingering project, and I had picked this beautiful yarn to start it. So this gorgeous yarn came in a swap package from my friend Juanita. Her husband Dale dyed it, and she spun it. So this is hand spun from Juanita that Dale dyed, and I love it. And as I was having my conversation on the vlog, I realized this is not fingering weight. This is DK. And I don't have yardage on this, but it's a little over 3 ounces or 4 ounces. It would not be enough to make a DK version of that shawl, I'm sure, because I'm sure the yardage is much less. So I was saying, well, I'm gonna go find a different yarn to make this gorgeous Elm Leaves Shawlette, and a different pattern to knit this gorgeous DK yarn from. Well, my friend Megan messaged me. I don't know what I would do without you guys. I seriously don't. My friend Megan messaged me and said, try out the Along the Edge cowl. We love it. She has knit 2 of these, one for herself and one for her husband, Malcolm. And she has another one planned right now that will be holding 2 yarns together, one of which will be mohair. And I think that will be gorgeous. But I really liked it. This is Along the Edge by Colleen Kinnersley Designs. I bought it right away. I thought this is perfect. I bought it right away. And last night, while I was binge watching the Duchess of Duke Street on BritBox, I started it. And isn't it beautiful? I'm so excited. Thank you, Juanita, for the gorgeous yarn. Thank you, Megan, for the wonderful suggestion. And I have started it. Now, it's an interesting pattern because you knit it back and forth and then you seam it. And I don't have any trouble seaming things. So isn't this turning out beautiful? I put this to show me what was the front, but it is stockinette, so it's not that hard anymore. Isn't it knitting up gorgeously? I am so excited. So I sat there and worked on this last night. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm looking forward to the final product. And here you go. Thank you, Dale and Juanita, for the gorgeous yarn. So this is knitting whip number 2. Now, knitting whip number 3. Rebecca Acton, who is in our group, is a very lucky girl, and she has won the Ode to Joy make-along prize a couple times. I don't know if we need to disqualify her from now on, but she's participating. I don't know. What do you think about that? But anyway, so she won, by the way, she won the March yarn prize, and she has already received it. And I was supposed to pick April yarn prize, but I haven't done that yet. I wanted to just get out here and start this, and I didn't find a yarn, so I'm going to say we're having pattern prizes. But a couple months ago we had pattern prizes, and she won one of the pattern prizes too. And she picked this prize, Lunam. This is a Michelle Wong pattern. I love Michelle Wong's sweaters. Excuse me. She has some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous sweaters. I don't even know if she's still knitting or whatever. I used to watch her podcast, but then she switched to kind of all doing makeup, and you can see that that's not nearly as interesting to me. So I don't know if she's still on YouTube with knitting at all. I don't know if she has any new knitting patterns. She moved to Las Vegas a few years ago, and anyway, but this is her pattern. She also, Michelle Wong also designs patterns that generally need to be sewn together. She designs in pieces because she likes the structure. She likes the structure of the seams to hold the sweater together better. So anyway, Rebecca picked this pattern, and I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. So I bought it, and I cast it on. Anyway, this pattern, it just has 4 pieces. The front and the back are exactly the same. The sleeves are exactly the same. So I started knitting it 2 at a time. Now I'm knitting it in, I hope I have the yarn tag in here, which wouldn't be surprising if I didn't, but I do. I mean, I usually do my podcast up by in my room, and in my tag for the Little Bean yarn for the Sweet Little Nothing is up there. I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Here is the tag for the yarn that I'm using. It's Blue Moon Fiber Arts in the single silky targy yarn, and I bought this several years ago, probably 4 years ago, when I was visiting my friend Linda in Florida. I bought this at Darn Good Yarn in Sarasota, Florida, and it's a giant skein of Aran weight, I think. 696 yards for 265 grams, 9.5 ounces in one of these. And I have 3 of these skeins, and the colorway is Spicy Plum. And it is a yummy yarn. It's a single, and I've sworn I wasn't going to make any more sweaters out of singles, but you know, you have a sweater's quantity, and what are you going to do? So this is the yarn. It's fun, very fun to knit. And so I've been doing a little bit of alternating skeins and things, because there are 3 skeins, and I don't want to have a big fancy line showing the difference. But anyway, here is how far I've gotten, and I've gotten pretty far. I was just booking along. I was really enjoying knitting this. It's 2. I'm doing the front and the back. They're exactly the same. So 2 at a time is like the perfect thing to do with this. So here we go. But you know, I'm going along and I'm looking at the, now where the heck is it? It was so obvious before, but I'm pretty sure it's on this side. Holy cow. I was looking too far down. So I'm going along, and then I'm looking at what I'm doing, and then I see this. And it's really hard. It's not that easy to see on the screen. But right here, I screwed up my stitches. Gee, I wonder, you know, because it's not that obvious to me while I'm looking at it here, but you can see it in the back. It's very obvious on the back that what I've done is completely different. So anyway, I decided I was going to tear it back and fix it, because it was so obvious to me, but it can't be that terrible, because I really am having trouble. Oh, there it is. You can see it. Well, anyway, I can see it. And you know, when you're knitting like this, it's right here. When you're knitting like this, you're taking, you know, you're reading your knitting, and you're taking what you did from the previous row. And if you get off, you end up being off, sometimes off. And I'm off here by 3 or 4 rows, for 3 or 4 rows, just in this weirdo section. Isn't that funny? I can hardly see it. Now I'm rethinking about it, whether I wanted to redo it or not. What do you think? I mean, I could just always wear it in the back if it started. Well, it bugged me. It bugged me a lot. Anyway, it bugged me enough that I stopped knitting on it. When I told Dennis, I made a mistake, and he said, oh, right there? And he could find it right away. But now that I'm looking, I mean, in my mind, it was way bigger than it turns out that it is. But yeah. I'm taking it back. So anyway, well, what happened was, a little bit earlier, I had also made a mistake, but I fixed it mostly, but not terrific. And I don't know if you can see that down here. So I thought I'm going to take it all the way back to before that mistake, and I'm going to re-knit this. But I only have to do the one piece. I don't have to do both of them. You know, the joys of knitting them together is that you don't have to think about them. So I think I'm going to put the good half on another needle or a waste yarn or something, and I'm going to tear this back and to before the other mistake and then keep going. And I think that's just about at the beginning of the increases. So this one that I, you know, made the mistake on has all the stitch markers for the increases, which I think is going to help me. So as I tear it back, I'm going to tear it back to the first increase. That'll get me back below the first mistakes, and then just redo this 6 inches of this side panel and do it right, because even though I can't find it on the podcast, which is annoying to be honest, I certainly noticed it almost right away when I really looked at my knitting, and Dennis could notice it. He knew what I was talking about. So I'm going to fix it, because there's no rush. This is going to be a warm, cozy sweater next winter. But I was really enjoying knitting it, but I stopped because I wanted to pull it out. I wanted to show you, although there doesn't seem to be any point in me showing you. Oh, and the other thing is, I've been dropping stitches. And it's really strange, because this is a very, you know, obvious pattern. And it's, you know, and it's a broken, twisted rib, which is knit one through the back, knit one through the back, and on the other side it's knit one, purl one. So, you know, you find out right away if you dropped a stitch, and yet I have a dropped stitch here. But the thing is, with this single yarn, apparently I am only getting, like, on some stitches, because I'm not, you know, I'm watching TV. Some stitches, I think what I'm doing is I'm just picking up a little bit and then it breaks. So, because I have 2 right here on the other side where it looks like I'm dropping a stitch, but I don't know if you can see, there's like a little bit of fiber, and I think what's happening is I'm just picking up such a small amount of the stitch that it's breaking and then acting like a dropped stitch. So I have to be more mindful while I'm knitting this, so that I pick up the whole piece of yarn, because I have 2 of those that I have found on the good side and 1 on the bad side. But I also need to go through this with a little bit more of a fine-tooth comb in case I have other ones, because it, you know, it just, the yarn is not that strong. I mean, it's a single, so if I'm not picking up the whole piece of yarn, oh, you know what, there's another one. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe it's more obvious. Can you see that? Right there? And it's only being held on by a thread. Well, that's going to be coming back anyway, because that's in the section that I'm going to tear off. But so I need to go through, maybe going through on the back is better, because I just noticed that it's like, Can you see that? Not very well. Anyway. So apparently I've been doing that all along. So I will have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that I strengthen any of those places where that's happened, where I'm not going to take it back. But I'm going to take this back. As I said, it's way more obvious on the back side where my problem is. And re-knit this piece and put them back together on the same needle and keep going. But I'm pretty far. I'm already doing the increases along here, the sleeve, before I get up to the shoulder. So I'm pretty far along, and I really was enjoying it till I saw that and stopped. And that's been maybe a couple weeks. I'm not even sure. It seems like it's been a long time. So I need to take this back, make notes, figure out where I am, make sure I do a better job, of knitting it, because I can't believe how many of those stitches I have where, you know, I only picked up a little bit of the yarn because I was doing it without looking, you know, because I was, ooh, Dennis has brought me dinner, Mongolian beef. He got a walk a couple weeks ago, and we've been having the most delicious dinners. So I'm going to take a break. I know this is really rude. I'm going to take a break and eat my Mongolian beef. I'm almost done. I actually am almost done. That was the end of my WiPs. But so I'll be right back. Okay. That is delicious. I am so lucky that Dennis loves to cook. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. Oh, I didn't finish it yet, but I realized that I really had done all my, there's Maisie. I really had done all my WiPs and all my FOs, which is only the one gorgeous one. And so all there was to say, I guess, goodbye. This is what I'm going to be casting on next. I have to pick the right yarn from my stash for that, and so that's in the near future. I do have my forest park to go back to when I'm ready to be knitting on sweaters that take a little bit more brain power now. Well, now the lumen takes brain power because I got to tear it back and whatever and keep track, but it's not that bad. And the knitting of it is actually, I've gotten into the rhythm of it, although I have had to, you know, tink back when I realized, I'm off. But I can't believe I did that whole section like this much wrong. And I am going to fix it, even though I had trouble finding it for the podcast. Dennis saw it right away. So maybe it's the lighting, who knows, but that's that. So I do want to remind you again, if you are watching this before April 23rd, please join us for our Zoom craft together. Look in the Ravelry thread for the link, or email me at flameandfiber@mindspring.com. We would love to have you. And I will bid you farewell. I hope that you have lots and lots of time to do the crafting that brings you joy. And I hope you're taking very good care of yourselves. Please, please take care. And I will talk to you tomorrow, for those of you who watch my daily nattering on for my vlog, or I'll see you next month. Please join us for the Ode to Joy make-along. It's basically anything that you're making with your hands that is bringing you joy. Please post. We'd love to see it. Baking cookies, making music, painting, knitting, stitching, crocheting, you know, weaving, spinning, anything you're doing that you love. Paper making and is bringing you joy. Please, please. And we're picking prizes once a month, although I am wimping out and just doing pattern prizes. So, but I will buy a pattern. If you're a stitcher, I'll buy a stitching pattern from Etsy for you. You know, so probably not sheet music if you're a musician. I wouldn't know how to do that, but we'll work something out if you're not a knitter or crocheter. Please join us. So anyway, I hope you can do the crafting that brings you joy, and I will talk to you later. Bye.